And now, Death Valley Days. Howdy, folks. I'm the old ranger, and I have another interesting true story for you about the historic Death Valley country. Nowadays, Volcano, California is a sleepy ghost town in the Mother Lode country. But there are still a few reminders of the time when there was an eruption at Volcano. It is the spring of 1861.
Let us pray. We thank thee, O Lord, for thy blessing so abundantly bestowed. We ask thee to guide our nation safely through these troubled times, that there may be peace between the states of the Union.
Fort Sumter surrendered. Reagan has declared war.
I knew it would happen. Brethren,
I knew it was coming. It won't last long. The South can't hold out against the Union Army.
And don't you ever forget, first, last, and always, we're Southerners.
That's right.
Confederacy needs us. Are we ready?
We're ready.
Quiet, gentlemen. Quiet, gentlemen, quiet. This is a house of God. We must not let this tragic news divide us. In this church, there are men of goodwill on both sides. We must not forget our common brotherhood.
Reverend, we have no brotherhood with the North.
Mr. Taylor, the war is 2,000 miles away. We are Californians now.
A lot of us don't feel that way.
Mr. Taylor's right, Dad. Too late to be neutral. This is war, and we're Southerners.
You're right, Joel.
I wish I was in the land of cotton, corn, brown body, lies a mourning in the grave. Calvary body lies a mourning in this land where I was born, where the old walking more to the grave.
Gentlemen!
His victory land where I was
Gentlemen!
We've been waiting for you, Joel.
Sorry we're late.
Gentlemen, I've seen this coming for a long time, and I've been making plans. Now tell me, what does the South need more than anything else?
Money. Yeah, that's right. Money.
Exactly. The South needs gold. And here in Volcano, that bank is bulging with it.
We're going to send it all to Richmond. How can we send it when it's not our gold?
This is war, Joel.
That's right.
Now, we outnumber the Northerners 3-1. And by rights, this town should be ours. Now, I think we owe it to the South to send them that gold. Now, is there a man among us who lacks the courage to fight for the Confederate cause? And that settles it. We'll make our move Friday noon before they have a chance to ship that gold out of here. And when Friday comes, we're going to take over this town in the name of President Davis. Now I want you to go outside and line up every loyal Southerner.
Let's go.
You all.
Let's go.
You did all right. You really got them fired up.
You can't beat patriotism if you want to put something over on the people. You know, Randolph, by this time next Friday, you and I are going to be two of the richest men in California. Here's to the war.
Hello, Joel.
Hello, Ellie.
Where you been all day?
Oh, I had a few things to tend to.
Well, come on over here so we can talk.
After what Dad said about this here place of yours at church on Sunday, I didn't know if you'd want to talk to me anymore or not.
Oh, I don't blame him. He's in one business, I'm in another. Besides, it's what you think that really matters.
I'm here. Confidentially. What he said in church is nothing to what he's been preaching to me on the side.
Well, now I'm going to do some preaching. Are you mixed up in what's going on in this town, Joel?
How do you know what's going on?
Men who drink talk. Stay out of it, Joel, please.
I'm a Southerner.
You were a Southerner. Now you're a Westerner. Don't help to bring the war out here.
It's already here, Ellie. It's up to every man to choose the side he believes in and fight for it.
All right. Go on, be a hot-headed fool and fight. I might do some fighting myself.
Well, Miss Worth, this is a pleasant surprise, seeing you come through that door.
I didn't come here to get religion, Reverend Coleman.
Frankly, I felt it was a little too much to hope for. However, I'm glad you're here. It's high time we had to talk about my son.
I didn't come here to talk about Joel either. Reverend Coleman, there's going to be a lot of bloodshed in this town unless someone does something to stop it. Bart Taylor's organizing all the Southern sympathizers. Next Friday, they plan to take over Volcano, seize the bank, the mines, and take all the gold.
Why did you come to me? I'm a Southerner myself.
Yes, but first you are a man of peace.
What is your interest, Miss Worth?
Well, let's just say I'm a businesswoman. If this town should turn into a battleground, I lose a lot of customers. And so do you.
We seem to have something in common, although for different reasons. But what can we do? Talking will get us nowhere. I had a sample of that in church this morning.
You can go to San Francisco and get some troops. The soldiers in town, they'll think twice before they start anything.
Well, that's a good idea. Why don't you act on it yourself?
Well, I believe in a matter like this, Reverend Coleman. Your social standing would have more influence with the Army than mine.
Miss Worth, in many ways, I've underestimated you. Since this seems to be a moment of frankness, I'd like to ask you a question. Is your interest in my son sincere or only for the purpose of hurting me?
In some ways, Reverend Coleman, I overestimated you.
Come in, Joel. Have a drink.
What do you want to see me about, Bart?
I have a job for you, Joel. One that's going to test your loyalty to the cause. There's a man riding to San Francisco to get the Army to send some troops up here.
You want me to stop him?
Well, you know what soldiers in Volcano will do to our cause.
There'll be no soldiers.
It might call for a little rough treatment.
I'm a soldier myself, fighting for the South. If necessary, I'll kill for it. Who is this man?
Your father.
Waiting for you. I'm going along.
You know where I'm going and why?
Ellie told me.
Well, that's funny. Your sympathies are with the uprising.
Well, I thought they were, but After talking to Ellie, I realized there'll be enough battlefields without making Volcano one of them.
Well, I'm glad to have you with me, son. Now, we'd better ride if we're going to get that riverboat to San Francisco. I beg your pardon. Would you tell me where Army headquarters are?
Sure, at the Presidio. Right that way, you can't miss it.
Oh, thank you.
Reverend, it sounds serious. How many men do you think it would take?
Well, I think 20 or 30 would do it. All we have to do is make a show of authority, and I'm sure there'll be no trouble.
When would they have to be there?
Before noon next Friday.
Well, I'm short of men right now, but if it's as urgent as you say,
I assure you, Colonel, it's mighty urgent. If this uprising is not prevented, it might start a rebellion that would spread through the state.
Yes, that's right. Well, men will be ready to leave tomorrow morning.
Thank you, Colonel.
Thank you for bringing the matter to my attention, Reverend. Times like this, we can't take too many precautions.
No, sir. Come along, Joel.
Good day, young man.
Good day, sir.
Thank God. That was a good day's work, Joel.
My hat. I left it in the colonel's office. You go on ahead and I'll catch up with you. Excuse me, Colonel, but I wanted to tell you not to pay any attention to what my father said.
What's that?
Well, I didn't want to say anything in front of him, and I didn't have an opportunity to contact you beforehand, but, well, my father has a tendency towards delusions.
Delusions?
Yes, sir, and an overactive imagination. He has a habit of making something out of nothing. It's been quite a problem to me. Well, he once suspected our wealthiest church member of stealing from the collection plate.
Do you mean to tell me there's nothing to worry about in Volcano?
Yes, sir. Nothing whatsoever. He heard a few people voicing their sentiments, and right away, in his mind, that meant rebellion.
I certainly appreciate your information, young man. I don't have troops to send on a wild goose chase.
But when you tell my father that you've changed your mind, I'd appreciate it if you wouldn't mention what I just said.
No, yes, of course, I understand.
Excuse me, I forgot my hat.
I just can't understand it. Yesterday, the colonel agrees to give us soldiers, and today he changes his mind.
The colonel explained it to you, Dad. He said he got word the troops are needed more in Monterey.
I got a feeling he was just making an excuse.
Well, there's nothing more we can do about it.
I can't believe that the Lord wants me to fail. This is our answer, Joel. This cannon and Volcano will have more authority than 50 soldiers.
Oh, forget it, Dad. Well, we haven't a chance of hauling this into town in a wagon.
Well, why not?
Well, they'd take it away from us.
Yeah, you're right. Then we won't use a wagon. Well, we're making mighty good time. We'll have that cannon and Volcano long before any trouble starts. I can't tell you, son, what it means to me to have you with me on this trip. You know, this is more time than we've spent together in many months. And to think that I have Miss Worth to thank for that. The ways of the Lord are strange indeed. Now, Joel, break a wheel, we'll never get there.
Grab off the bank first, then the express office. Then we'll move on the mines and clean them out.
By that time, we ought to have a wagon load of gold.
Should have. And just to keep up the appearances, I'm going to have some of the men ride along with us south for the first 100 miles. And then when they leave us, we'll head north to Denver.
The Northerners have got wind of our plan of taking over the town.
How do you know that?
They're all barricading themselves in the bank. And they sent out riders to round up the rest of them.
We'll make our move before noon. Get word to the Diggins and all the other places. Have those men get in here as fast as they can.
Right.
We'll still get what we're after.
Where's everybody going? It's a long time till noon, Lois.
We ain't waiting till noon, Ellie. We're gonna march on this town just as soon as we can all get together.
Give me my gun. I'm gonna ride out and meet the soldiers, hurry them up. And just in case I don't get them back in time, close the place up and board up the windows.
Before we get into town, you better drop off and let me go in alone. Some of your hot-headed friends might not understand your change of heart.
They might not understand what you're trying to do either. I'd advise you to give it up, Dad. Stick to your preaching.
All kinds of preaching, son. This is the one kind that I think they'll listen to. Oh! What you stopping for?
One of the traces is loose. We fix it, Dad?
Why, certainly.
Sorry, Dad, but this cannon will never be used against the South.
Told me you went to Carson City.
Well, I didn't. I went with Dad. If you're wondering where he is, you'll find him back down the road.
Are there any soldiers with him?
There won't be any soldiers. I took care of that.
You took care of him?
I'm fighting for the South, remember?
What did you do to your father?
Just left him to walk. So he won't be sneaking into town with a cannon that's in this here hearse.
I don't know how he planned on using that cannon, but I'm on his side. Now back up to that wide space in the road and turn around. Let's go get him.
Put that away, Ellie.
You better take me seriously, Joel. I mean it.
I'll see you back in town, Ellie.
Now climb down from there.
All right, here you go. Yep.
Where's Taylor? Tell him to come on out. We want to get started.
Take it easy. Keep your shirt on. All the men out here yet, and the stronger we are, the less them Yankees gonna feel like fighting.
Not to wait any longer for the rest of the men. Hey! Now, we're going to march on the bank first. Now, I don't want any shooting unless they refuse to surrender. So wait for my command before you cut loose with those guns. Understand?
Yeah.
Now, we don't have any uniforms. We haven't had any chance to drill. But I want you to remember this. We're still soldiers of the South. Hey! I want you to go outside there and act in a way that will make Jeff Davis proud of you.
That's right.
I understand that Joel went along with you.
He sure did.
Where is he?
Why, he's behind us.
What's the hearse for?
What's a hearse usually for, Randolph?
He's gonna haul them Yankees away in it. And Ellie's gonna play nurse.
That's right, fellas. And I have plenty of bandages for both sides.
Save them for the Yankees, Ellie. All we want from you is whiskey, right, fellas?
All right, man, open up. Let him through.
Come on there. Come on. Come on there. Come on. Come on, man. I've got a cannon in here. Get Joel out of it.
Take it into the back. Or when do you get the hearse out of here?
We're taking over this town in the name of the Confederacy. You've got 1 minute to come out and surrender. You haven't got a chance of holding us off. I warn you, open that door and come out.
They're coming out. Where'd they get that?
I'm a man of peace. But as the Lord is my judge, I'll set the torch to this cannon if any one of you makes a move towards this building. Now listen to me. Listen and think. Many of you came to this town when it was nothing, like I did. You helped to build it, took pride in it. Many of you have your families here, plan to spend the rest of your lives here. This is your town. Would you destroy it by looting and robbing, staining its streets with blood? Any of you who have an honest desire to fight for the Southern cause should join the Confederate Army and do it honorably. But don't bring the war to Volcano.
That's just a bunch of fancy words, man. Pay no attention to them.
Ben! Ben, come on, Ben. Ben, you can't quit now. I'm changing my mind.
Randall! You're wasting your breath.
But our plan.
Reverend Coleman and that cannon just blew our plans all to pieces.
You were right in what you told him, Dad. I'm glad I was forced to listen and think, too.
Well, it's all over now, son. Let's forget about it, shall we?
We ought to fire the cannon once, Reverend, just to celebrate.
I'm afraid that would be impossible. There's no powder in it. Thank the Lord. They didn't know it.
And so the threat of Volcano erupting into another battlefield was averted, thanks to a minister who knew how to fight for peace.